And again, I'm talking about when we're taking the runway, but I'm also referring to when we're on base coming to turn final, okay? Both instances, I want you to do this. Ensure final is clear. Look and say it out loud. Again, back to the whole, if you don't say it, I don't know you're doing it, okay? I can't read your mind. The DPE can't read your mind. No one could read your mind. Maybe technology someday will reach a point where where you show up to a check ride and the DPE wears a helmet, and then the DPE closes their eyes and they're able to download all your knowledge, and then like they take it off and then that's your oral. Maybe we'll reach such a day, but until that day shows up, you have to speak. You have to let the DPE know what you know, and you have to let the DPE know what you're doing, because if you don't say it out loud, they don't know you're doing it. So I want to stress that again. Many people miss that. They go, I know I'm doing it. Don't worry about it. You can't be silent about it, because if you're silent about it, the DPE has a choice. They could choose to think you did it, or they could choose to think that what? You didn't do it. Because how do they know? They don't know you did it. So get into the habit of saying things out loud. Okay, when it comes to the runway, let's start with taking the runway. I'm showing up to take the runway. I want your head looking in the opposite direction of the runway before you touch the runway. As you start moving on your roll to take the runway, look towards the final approach course. Visually make sense. Final is clear. If you want to take it up a notch and really make it pretty, say, okay, we're clear outside, and then point to your screen and say, we're also clear inside, meaning I don't see any traffic visually and I don't see any traffic on my screen that is on final. And here's the thing. Many of you watching this might go, well, what do you mean? Tower just cleared you for takeoff. Why would you have traffic on final? Well, if you spend enough time in this industry called flying and airplanes, you'll find, and I'm about to say sadly, but it's not sadly, it's just humanly, we're humans. Just as much as you, the pilot, are human, you might bust airspace someday. Not because you're a bad pilot, because you're human. Controllers are also human. They might clear you for takeoff when there's traffic on final. Not because they're a bad controller, but because they're human. And that's why part of what we need to remember as pilots is to do what we call trust but verify. I trust what the controller tells me. I follow their instructions. I know the rules, but I verify. Nowhere does it say I can't double check a controller's work. Nowhere. Show me one FAR that says that. Doesn't exist. I could double, triple check that whatever a controller tells me to do indeed is safe, that I won't hit another plane. And I have resources to do that. I could check my screen. I could look for traffic. I could use my eyes out the window and make sure final is clear. There's many different verifications I could do to make sure that what the controller just told me to do indeed won't end in an unfortunate situation. And that's how you should operate. Trust but verify. Trust but verify. 99.9% of the time, the verification you do will actually check with what the controller just told you to do. In other words, it will be safe, it will be great. They know exactly what they're doing. But it's that 0.1%. You don't want to give it a chance. So get into the habit of trust but verify. And this falls exactly into that. So you're cleared for takeoff. Look to the final approach course visually and go, final is clear. Again, say it out loud. If you don't say it out loud, the DPE doesn't know you're doing it. Now, you might go, oh, but I'm looking. They should see me. Well, what if your DPE is looking too? What if your DPE is looking too? Because guess what their habit is? Their habit is to check the final's clear. So their head is not looking at you. Their head is looking in the opposite direction. The only time they would look at you is if final is off the left side. They could turn left and then see you looking left. But don't count on that. Just get into the habit of saying it out loud. Final's clear. Excellent. Small, tiny thing, again, so easy to do, so easy to miss. So simple to do, so simple to miss, which is why many people miss it. Make it a habit. Final's clear. And I'll remind you, yes, we're talking about check rides, but do this for the rest of your life. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal habit. Okay? Final's clear. That's when we take the runway. The next time that this ties in the same way that I want you to get into the habit of doing, which many people don't do. Many people get the whole final clear when they take the runway, but then once they're in the air, it's just airplane. I'm not thinking about anything but flying this airplane. That's not so good. You're a little too zoomed in on the operation. You got to take a little breath and step back, and also make sure you're not potentially hitting anything while you're operating your plane. So if that's you, if you've just been so focused on the airplane while flying it, Figure out a way where you could kind of relax, take a step back, and start devoting your attention, right? We don't only want to learn how to walk, we also want to learn how to walk while not hitting walls. So if you're at the walking point and you're still hitting walls or just so focused on the walking that you're not aware of your surroundings, take that home with what I'm saying here and maybe make it a point to try and work on that. So consciously go, okay, I'm aware of myself. I'm a little too deep in the mud here. I need to back out a little bit. And what I want you to do here is when you're on base, before you begin your turn to final, and the reason is if you're in a low wing plane and you begin your turn to final, guess how good you could see final through your whole wing. Not really. You got your whole wing right up blocking final. So it defeats the purpose. While you're straight on base, you got good visibility to final, assuming you're turning left. If you're turning right, you got good visibility to final. While your wings are straight, I want you to look whatever side final is on, and I want you to say out loud, okay, final looks clear. And then begin your turn to final. Again, so simple to do, just as simple to miss. But if you do that, again, guess what the DPE feels in their stomach? Do you think they're sitting there going, this guy just doesn't stop talking? Or do you think they sit there going, wow, this person is aware that there's potential traffic that could be coming into that same runway, and they don't want to take the chance. They're double checking. Their risk management is nicely managed, and they're actually making sure that final is clear. Oh boy, it earns you lots of points on your check ride. Lots of points. But again, as easy as it is to do, equally easy, easily missed. I'll say this again. Great relationships are made or break. I want to say made or break. What makes relationships great is not, like I said before, is not the big things. They're not the elephants in the room, okay? It's the small, tiny, little things. And everything we're talking about here, they're small, tiny, little things. Which, by the way, if you didn't do these things, would you fail your check ride? I don't know. I think it would be an interesting debate. Should you fail your check ride for not doing these things? I would say, again, depends on your overall performance. I don't know if these are failable things. That's how small and simple these things are. But again, that's the whole point. Your check ride is made up of all these small little tiny things. It's these little extra stuff that leave your DPE feeling, this person is serious. This person is safe. This person is not taking any extra chances when it comes to this airplane gig. So keep that in mind. These things are simple, but that's how big of an impression they leave. As simple as they are, that's how big of an impression they leave. They leave a huge, huge impression. So final is clear. When you take the runway, final is clear. And when before you turn from base to final, while your wings are level. Now, if you're in a high wing airplane, you could still see final after you turned, but just make it a habit. Wings level, I haven't started turning yet. Final's clear. Then begin your turn. Again, it just shows good situational awareness, a good understanding. It shows that you understand that the controller could potentially not be perfect. And guess what? They're not. And potentially have you clear you to land or tell you base turn approved while there's traffic that's coming in to land as well. So we trust but verify.